Overeating and sugar addiction is affecting your faith. Here are 4 things that you need to know about it and what we can do to start to overcome it. Welcome back to the Health and Faith podcast. If you're new here, then welcome. I'm Laura Hargrave. I'm a Christian Master Certified Nutritionist of over 25 years and best-selling author and your host here. So welcome along. Do subscribe and feel free to share this with a Christian friend. So you love the Lord. You take your faith seriously. You're not someone who's just kind of marking time until the Lord comes. You have responsibilities. You carry a calling and you know that. Furthermore, you know what to eat. You know you should be eating healthy and you do eat healthy for the most part. But yet, how come you can find yourself when the day is over and a little bit of time to yourself in the kitchen, in the cupboards, sneakily eating, opening the fridge, closing the fridge, opening the fridge, closing the fridge, tubs of peanut butter? This is the struggle of many Christian women. And sugar addiction and overeating in this way, food cravings, constantly thinking about food and food noise, is more than just a food problem. And that's what we're going to discuss in this podcast today. So, sugar addiction, it is not merely a food problem. It is, let's face it, and you'll know this, you don't need me to tell you, but just so we're on the same page, it's draining your energy and spiritual power, and it keeps you stuck in a cycle of guilt and shame. So what does that look like? It means it feels like going to bed thinking, Lord, why can't I overcome this? I'm trying to lose weight and I start each week with a plan and I know what to eat and I've got healthy foods, but yet I find myself sabotaging it and either at the end of the day or at 3 p.m. or mid-morning, like inhaling the food cupboard, like crisps, cakes, sugar, chocolate, and what is wrong with me? And over time, the weight steadily, slowly creeps up. And after years, you probably have found yourself thinking, how come I'm over a stone, 2 stones, 3 stones, 30 pounds more than I know I should be? And it's gone from being just a minor inconvenience and, it doesn't matter. The Lord sees more than looks and looks on everything. And as Christians, we're not supposed to be idolizing our body. So there's more to life than weight and being slim. Maybe, but it's now having a bigger impact. It's affecting joints. It's causing you to feel more sluggish. The weight being carried around your midsection actually is causing a problem. And if you've been to the doctor will be saying, you need to get that down. And maybe you want to consider a GLP-1 medication. So this all has, it can start eroding our faith. And here's some reasons why. So let's dig into this. Let's try and bring some understanding to this. Because otherwise we just go into condemnation, as we've talked about. And it can feel like there's no way out. We can get to a point of despair if we don't understand what's going on beneath the symptoms. So what happens? We use sugar to push through. And this is not always a greed issue or a lack of discipline. There's a legitimate thing in this, just like caffeine and coffee for some people, and maybe use both. When you have responsibilities, you've got caring responsibilities, church responsibilities, prayer responsibilities, then it can be a legitimate way to push through and get stuff done. You've got a day to get on with, and there isn't time to be sitting around meditating all day and, taking a rest. That's what it can feel like anyway. And so we use a sugar as a pick-me-up, caffeine as a pick-me-up, a little, afternoon snack as a dopamine hit to awaken us and just push us through the day. But this becomes a habit, and oftentimes what started off as a, maybe a legitimate way as a pick-me-up can then just simply become a habitual cycle that, whether there's anything going on or not, for me, I remember for quite a number of years working from home with not a huge amount of external stress upon me, I was still finding myself craving in the afternoon and using food as a pick-me-up when my body wasn't actually needing food. It wasn't needing some kind of stimulation, but it had become purely a habit. And our brains are very good at forming habits. But the good news is that just as we can train ourselves into a bad habit of reaching for sugary snacks and giving into cravings, we can also retrain the body out of it. So that's the good news. You've probably heard of neuroplasticity. I'm a big fan of Dr. Caroline Leaf's work on this, and I've trained a little in neuroplasticity myself, and this has been one of the key things that has allowed me and work with my clients to overcome habitual responses that maybe have been going on for many years. When we start to retrain the brain, it takes a concerted effort, but it doesn't take long. The Lord has designed our brains to be very malleable, very able to be reconstructed. So we can literally do, as Caroline Leaf says in her books, we can do brain surgery on ourselves for good, for forming better habits, better rituals, better ways of operating. So that's the first thing to understand, is that we might use sugar to push through, and then it can form a habit, and then it's just this repeated cycle, but we can retrain out of it. So there's hope there. The second thing to know is that we can often use sugar and giving into cravings as counterfeit comfort, isn't it? This is where we get the concept of comfort eating, emotional eating. So when we're looking for comfort and maybe connection and an emotional need to be met, then it helps to stop and say to ourselves, okay, what's going on beneath this? What is my need? What's the need going on underneath my desire to reach for sugar? It may simply be, I need a rest. I haven't slept well. The kids have been, it's been full on with the children. It's been full on in ministry. I just didn't sleep well last night for whatever reason. Maybe you're feeling hormonal shifts, and a way to address that and to negotiate with that is to reach for sugar. Well, you may simply need a rest, and that's okay. I just want to, give you full permission. I was working with one of my clients this week, and she's working at the moment long hours in her teaching job. She's also raising teenagers. And she said, I just have to push through and do work between 10 p.m. and midnight, several times a week. And I was like, wow, that's full on. And it's not really an option to stop doing that. So she's been using food as a way to stimulate her, to keep her going. And I said, look, please, let me just give you permission to take a 10-minute rest. I know it's going to feel like you haven't got time to do that. You need to push through and get this work done. But rather than spending 10 minutes going in and out of the cupboards and eating sugary snacks, go and lie down on your sofa for 10 minutes. Just give yourself that permission and then go back to the work. And it was like, we often need somebody else to tell us that, to just breathe a sigh of relief and say, okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And that's okay to do that. So instead of using sugar to push through and using food and sugar and overeating as a counterfeit comfort, let's look at what's underneath that. Now, I'm sure you've heard that before. Yeah, okay, I've tried that, Laura. I can't get on with it. Okay, so let's keep going then, because number 3 is knowing that And what I'm doing here is pushing you to a realization that this is not a pattern that is okay. You may have felt for years that, well, this just gets me through the day and gets me through my work and allows me to carry on with my responsibilities and my walk with the Lord. But you're negotiating with your faith in doing this, because sugar can quietly weaken your spiritual confidence. And that's the issue. So this was me for a number of years, not so much with sugar, but with overeating, eating when I wasn't hungry, giving in to cravings. And the Lord started backing me into a corner. I don't know whether you can relate to this or not. Maybe you've not got there yet, but if you're serious about your faith, you know that the Lord doesn't leave you in things that are hindering your spiritual walk, or even sin if it's gluttony. And the Lord started speaking to me about addressing the issue of eating when I wasn't really hungry and giving in to cravings. And I kind of heeded him and said, yes, Lord, I'm going to do this, and then just didn't. The Lord backed me into a corner and started highlighting to me 1 Samuel 15:23. You probably know the verse. It's quite condemning. But the Lord doesn't use it to condemn us. He uses it to chasten us. And as it says in Hebrews, don't despise the chastening of the Lord. It shows that we're his children, we're his beloved daughters. And so the Lord is not looking to punish us, to condemn us. He's looking to bring us into greater freedom. And I know the Lord wants that for you as well. So he started speaking to me on 1 Samuel 15:23. Stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Ouch! That's painful. That really struck. Yeah. Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. And he was just kind of somewhat more prominently been showing me this for years, just quietly, but he started getting more stronger with it, that this actually is stubbornness now, because you've heard what I've been telling you. I'm praying about it. I'm asking the Lord for direction. He's giving me some key things. He's giving me some really key concrete things. And I, even to the point where I had them on my walls around my home, things to do that I felt he was speaking to me on, and I wasn't doing them. And I was still praying, Lord, deliver me from this. And this is what he was showing me. Yeah, but I've told you, and you're now rebelling, and you're now being stubborn. And the proverb that came to mind was, don't be like a stubborn mule. The Lord tries the reins of our heart to see if we're attentive, and we don't want to be like a stubborn mule that needs bit and bridle to, keep us in check. And I thought, my goodness, okay, so because I love the Lord and I want to follow him and I'm serious about my faith, just like you are, then that really grieved me. And I thought, I have to take this more seriously. So I committed. Thankfully, I was on a retreat with the Lord at the time. I was away in a quiet place for a number of days. And so I used that time to really seek him and really start practicing walking the things that he had been showing me. And that was the beginning of deliverance for me. Now, just to say, I'm going to be sharing this in a live training that I'm holding soon. So if you're struggling in any way with this topic, which you are, else you wouldn't be watching this, then come and join me for Eating to the Glory, a 3-day live experience which will help you get to the bottom of your appetite, your hunger, your cravings, and how to address them. So you're not being, as I was, like that stubborn mule, stubborn and rebellious. Instead, being tender-hearted and walking in the freedom that the Lord has for you. So the enemy would love for you to turn a solvable appetite issue into an opportunity to feel condemned and as evidence that you failed in your walk with the Lord. That's what he was doing with me for years. I was fruitful in many areas and walking strong, but I was always aware, but there's this thing over here. And, I could have negotiated it away and said, well, it's a thorn in the flesh. And it wasn't a thorn in the flesh. It wasn't something extrinsic. It was something intrinsic. It was something within me that needed addressing, that the Lord was putting his finger on, saying, but this, Laura, this, we need to address this. And I'm praying, we can go off into praying all this stuff out here. And the Lord's going, yeah, but this. So if he's doing that for you, then come and join Eating to the Glory and we can start addressing this. So the fourth thing to understand is that trying harder doesn't work. You've done this. You've spent years doing this. You've tried harder. You've tried to eat better. You know what to eat. You're eating well for the most part. You are someone that takes your health seriously. So trying harder is not going to cut it. Why not? Well, because underneath an overactive appetite and cravings and sugar addiction is often metabolic issues, satiation, like legitimate hunger and satiation issues. Again, we're going to cover that. We're going to go through in Eating to the Glory. We're going to go through the 5 hunger languages, and not each hunger signal of the 5 needs to be addressed in the same way. They each need a different approach. So if you're trying to just pray away or suppress a hunger that actually needs satisfying with a certain specific thing, then just trying harder to control your appetite and cravings is not going to work. Okay, so that's the 4th thing to understand. So what does freedom look like then? How do we start beginning to walk in food freedom, where you can get through your day? Wouldn't it be amazing to get through your day and for hours to go by and to not think about food? You can get there. I was shocked when this started happening for me. I was like, wow, I didn't know this was available to me, where I could actually get through my day. Hours would go by and I'd be so engrossed in my work and whatever else I was doing that I wouldn't think about food. Whereas before, for a long time, I'd have my breakfast, 2 hours later I'd be thinking about food, wanting food, cravings, sugar, this, that, the other. All of that has gone now, and there's some very specific ways to overcome that the Lord shows me that I'm going to be sharing in this training. So just a few tips to finish. So number 1, we need to stabilize our satiation. We need to legitimately satisfy our hunger, the right type of hunger, with the right solution. Okay? We've got to match the hunger with the solution to that hunger, with the satiation of that hunger. So that's the first thing. We're going to stabilize through satiation. We're going to identify. This is now around the emotional side of eating, comfort side of eating. What happened directly before I felt a prompt, an urge, an impulse to go and eat something when I wasn't hungry? Was it somebody irking me? Was I offended by something? Was I disappointed by something? Was I angered by something? Did an uncomfortable feeling come up and I wanted to suppress it? Was I bored? Was I having to make a decision? Was I fearful? Any number of those things, maybe a combination of all of those things, or maybe it's something very specific. For me, it was often very predictable, the things that would cause me to want to go and eat something. So we're going to identify the moments, the emotions before the overeating occurs. And then we're going to look to interrupt it. So I would say to you, just in this next week, when you catch yourself like going impulsively wanting to go to the fridge, pick up a snack, go and buy a chocolate bar, interrupt yourself. And again, we're going to go through this in Eating to the Glory, my 3-day live training. But for now, just catch yourself and go, okay, think of what can you do instead. Put some time, and it only needs to be maybe half a minute or so, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Let's say between 30 seconds and 3 minutes, time between the impulse to go and eat and the response. Because oftentimes it's that period of interruption and just suspending that impulse and that craving. Let the craving wash over you and just wait half a minute to 3 minutes, and oftentimes that craving will disappear. Cravings come in waves. I'll do future episodes about this. But interrupt, catch the craving, notice what's going on, and distract yourself. Do something different. Change your state. Get up and move. write something down, whatever. So that would be my challenge this week. Interrupt that craving and think of one thing that you can do to change your mindset in that moment, to do something different. And then freedom finally looks like realigning, bringing your hunger, your appetite under the worship and under the headship of the Lord. We, as Christian ladies, want to consecrate ourselves daily to the Lord in his service, and that includes our appetite and the way we eat. And my friend, I just want to leave you with this. You have tolerated this enough because you're a woman that loves the Lord. You are passionate about your walk with him, your responsibilities in him. You've got things that you want to do in this season. You've got projects, you've got heart's desires that are yet to be realized. And the Lord is wanting to bring you into the fullness of that. I believe now is the time. He kept speaking to my husband and I at the beginning of this year about this year is a year of abundance. A scripture he's brought to my mind a lot recently in Psalms is he brought us through fire and water into a place of abundance. And I believe the Lord wants that for you. You've been through the fire, you've been through the waters, you've been through trials. And yes, of course, there may be more trials to come. As Christians, we are told to prepare for that. We're told, everyone who seeks to live godly in the Lord will face suffering. But what we don't want to do is suffer, as Peter says. We don't want to suffer for doing, if we suffer for doing bad, if we suffer for our own sins, then it's not commendable. But if we suffer for doing good, that's a different thing entirely. So don't scupper your walk in the Lord by bringing suffering on yourself through sabotaging your eating with cravings, sugar addiction, overeating. There is a way out. It's not hard. It's not hard, trust me, but it takes a precise plan. It takes intentionality. It takes support. And I can help you with that. I can help you with that. So come and join Eating to the Glory, our 3-day live training. I'll be excited to see you in that and to connect with you. And let's start tackling this together. So thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you've appreciated it, do share it with a Christian friend. And would you go to iTunes and leave a positive review? At the very least, just go into Apple Podcasts, scroll down, click rating, and just leave a 5-star rating. Just tap on it. Job done. It helps me to get the show out to other people. And I would really, really appreciate it. So bless you. Thanks for listening. And you can find the details for Eating to the Glory in the show notes below, in the description beneath this video, and on the website at healthinfaith.com. So I look forward to speaking to you again in the next episode of Health in Faith.